Are we there yet?
You are.
Grumpy's hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone. Who's there? Let's see.
It's probably only us.
There's
No.
Doris
Hey
and
man,
Paul.
Paul. Nice. I need to get rid of this thing.
Wait,
Ugh. I don't know why she started again, sleeping in front of my keyboard and everything. It's kind of
maybe
annoying.
it's a good idea to turn off the YouTube link.
Yeah, I did. Hey man. Hola. Hey Steve. So Grumpy, what are you painting today? Oh, that's you.
Fred says it looks like you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not very nice, Fred. Thank you.
Just saying.
You know, when you guys suggested another stream, I expected that both of you are gonna paint something, but okay. Fred is being lazy today.
No.
You probably have a good excuse, but I mean,
Well, I'll just blame it on the equipment, the software, and
It's
the
called being
lack of.
unprepared, Fred.
It is unprepared. No, last time I did a stream, it was delayed by 5 seconds from sound and image, so I'm not going to do that. But we will be amazed by Grumpy's painting while we talk.
so you've destroyed your first airbrush, or
Now, this is my 5th airbrush that I destroyed yesterday.
I know. I just wanted you to say that in front of everyone.
It's fine. It's what I was saying before we went live. That's why I buy cheap airbrushes until I'm actually really comfortable using them and know how to, kind of use them, store them, and fix them. So far, I don't think I do. So.
Not fuck them up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fixing is not an issue. I mean, they're pretty simple to not destroy.
Last one, I actually broke the nozzle on it. I just over tightened it and it just literally snapped in half. And this one, I think it was an O-ring that just didn't work properly, and I didn't want to fix it.
18 months? No.
At least.
No. I think at least 6, probably 6 months, I say. Well, we started this a year ago. It's actually almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Since lockdown, and we started talking about doing some streams. So, but yeah, that was a long time ago. God, time flies. So, what are we talking about today? I heard you had some plans.
Well,
you fucked up the plan, Fred. So.
I am prepared to talk about.
You know, Grumpy, this is kind of my nice channel.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, you already screwed that up with the rock mini. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was a different stream.
No.
Well, today I want to know more how to properly paint stuff, because whatever I tried kind of didn't went well. One of the things that I really enjoyed was actually just applying some random stuff and seeing how it goes. Like whenever I tried to paint something, I was having the hair dryer next to me, so I quickly smudged something, then I waited for it to dry, then I applied something like rust, then I tried something else, then I bought some washes, and they all, I mean, they look cool, and they do something that I didn't want to do, kind of. But it's like, okay, it's good enough, I should stop now. So like I would actually like to know how what would be the proper way. I mean, you guys have more experience, and you're probably watching tutorials on YouTube. I really didn't have time to jump into that because I was mostly focused on sculpting and some other random stuff.
Well, the reality is the air dryer is you see a lot of people using it, even professionals like in
Yeah,
those
but that's if,
sculpting.
I mean,
if they're in a hurry, you know.
Yeah, if that's in
that's
a
the only
hurry.
thing where I can actually still use hair dryer because
Hmm.
this thing on
Welcome to the
top
club.
it really doesn't need it. I mean, I'm
Uh,
surprised, Fred, that you actually know what that is. Yeah, sorry, continue.
but the reality is, I think most of the times you need to be more patient and let the paint dry or the effects. But
Yeah, man.
a lot of the times you can actually take advantage of the fact that the paints aren't dry enough to do even more cool things like blending colors. So, for example, if you put a coat of a color and then you
Mhm.
pick, let's say, an orange and a yellow. Let's say you pick an orange and then you start painting with the yellow on top while the orange is still not dry. You can actually start blending those colors in, and those are some nice techniques to use.
You know, like when I was a kid, I enjoyed drawing comic books, and like you needed to make like a box where you would draw everything inside.
Mhm.
So I was doing that. As soon as one of the lines went somewhere, like I wasn't patient enough, so I was like using ruler, and then that little jump that happens, the whole page, throw and again and again and again. So like with painting, I kind of have the same thing. Like I use first on some models that I tried, I use skin color, and it's nice and even, everything is fine, and then whatever other I try, I just mess up stuff, and immediately I want to do, like, I want to just pick another model because I, I cannot save it at that point. It's really how to say it, like, I think you need to have a vision how to paint it before you actually start it, right?
Yeah,
I don't.
the same as with everything, I guess. You can yellow it, but sometimes the best way to go about it is to have a rough idea of how it
Because
looks.
Fred betrayed us like he always does.
I
Oh,
never
the
done.
yeah, the Fred doesn't have airbrush today because he
Oh,
destroyed the fifth one.
Yeah.
yeah, I broke
So
the airbrush yesterday,
It's a
but the
little
main
rough on the
reason,
equipment.
yeah, the main reason is actually the fact that I would be lagging way behind, and it won't be good.
So what you're saying about the skin, Vedran?
um, I like when you apply that first layer and everything is nice and even, and and then when I start playing around with like trying to add some kind of shades, I completely lose it. I mess it up and I don't know how to solve it. It's usually like I enjoy that first layer because everything is so nice and even, and whatever next I do kind of ruins that for me.
Yeah,
And
that's
like it's about the motivation. When I see what is happening, I'm trying to save it, I'm trying to blend it, and it goes into something, and then I just want to undo everything. Like I don't know how many like prints I threw away just because of that.
I
And
guess it's harder with painting real models than it is with software. We can actually just undo it, and here the only thing you could do is just give another base coat and just restart it. But then again, it is a matter of trying often. And like I was watching some videos about these artists that they were doing massive statues and figurines, and they were painting faces on them and using different colors and washes. And I was thinking, man, if they screw that face, that's what, $100 down the drain. But I've been trying more and more, like even with the airbrush, applying just shades on an airbrush,
okay,
and it is just a matter of practice. And as you get used to it, you find tricks like I think it was one of the last dioramas. I had this fine kind of detail on one of the bases, and I used
Yeah.
I used some pigments to give it kind of a detail to it, and now I've used it again, and I kind of improving on those techniques.
Okay.
I guess you just need to have a lot more time to practice painting in order to at least
Nah.
do it.
What I want to say is when you paint something like this, you do not want to go with the miniature way,
Yeah.
where you just put on a uniform flesh color and put on a wash. You cannot do that on something this big.
Okay.
It's not gonna work. It's gonna look like shit, and it's gonna create these weird ass spots everywhere because you cannot control it when it's this big.
So, what are you doing right now? Like you're just doing.
I'm laying down shadows.
Okay.
I mean, it's just roughly. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing, but I've seen it somewhere. But hey, it worked out pretty good on the Well the Orc, so I
Okay.
tried
Okay.
again. So you just start with a dark color, and then you work your way up to lighter colors towards the muscles, and then you just use your airbrush with the magic.
Um, I think Mikuláš from Prusa told me once that someone gave him advice to like put a primer and then paint the entire model in some kind of darker color,
Mhm.
and then use the brighter color, and with airbrush you just spray it from the top, so it actually gives kind of light and shades and everything, and that's your like
That's your
kind of
baseline.
like kind of like a template that you need to
Yeah.
follow then.
Yeah. It depends on where
Uh,
you're putting the lights from. It helps define, especially when you're painting, and at the start, it's really good for you to know what areas are shaded and where areas have more light, and then use that to kind of build up on that. Also, it's really cool for when you're doing kind of you have areas that you want to have like dark. Like when you do rub and buff.
Yeah.
Okay, so the when you're doing with the material on top, it won't go on the crevice; it just stays on the top layers. Yeah.
Mm.
If you do spray a model from the top, it will also give a similar
get the
effect.
natural shades.
Exactly.
You know that with lighting in
Yeah, I wanted to say that for me the lighting part is really cool
you should
because
know
you
that.
are actually painting light. Like
Mhm.
bunch of situation I've seen, like backlight, side light, like those blue and orange kind of combinations,
It's OSL.
one from each
Where you
side.
have light from one side. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I would never think about that to actually apply the light. I like bunch of times before that I've seen images of miniatures, and I wasn't paying attention to that part. I was just looking like, okay, it has a nice light, you know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention, like going deeper. It's like just a bunch of pictures on the internet, and like you see it for maybe a few seconds and you move on. So, and then when I've actually seen it in one of the videos, it was like, damn, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I was even people when they're especially with miniatures when they're they're painting with non-steel or metal colors and simulating metal. It is insane the amount of
But it
work to
does.
get those
It
effects.
doesn't work on everything.
No, and it really
You
depends.
can
Like
get
if
some
you
really
look,
good, cool stuff out of it.
yeah, painting minis, I think is slightly different, but you can apply some techniques to other things. Yeah, it's
Yep.
like someone was asking about airbrush. Like I use airbrush for a lot of things, but mainly because I paint a lot of larger surfaces,
And a lot of terrain. Yeah.
terrain and things like that. And when I want to do some shading, but a lot of the times I fall back to brushes because when it's just so much better.
Mm. Look,
Ooh, we have an expert. Shit, we
another
can't talk
painter.
about painting anymore. The pro is here.
Yeah, but he
Um,
doesn't come on ever. So
No,
Yeah,
he's too famous for that.
yeah,
I think he's
doesn't.
too shy for it.
No, he's just famous. Um, but
But
the thing,
I would like to bring him here
uh,
to show his techniques and lucky angles.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about those lucky angles.
Well, I do that all the time with my models.
Yeah.
And you can totally see it, like when you look at the model later, on what side I've spent more time just looking at it. Like usually whenever people are modeling, they're just rotating model like non-stop in every direction, but they always stop on more or less one or two angles that are the best looking for them.
Of course.
yeah. But I think someone was talking about airbrushes, and then someone was mentioning, different things for different tools. But even paints and how you apply a paint to a model, and like you mentioned, washes. They have different purposes, and you can do some really good things. Like a lot of the times, you could make a difference in a model just by how you use washes and how you use pigments and other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things I've been enjoying quite a lot, is actually using pigments, because it's something that isn't the first thing you would think of using, but they're really, really good to give some effects.
This is the first one that I started doing, and I mean, wait, I need to
It's not too bad.
kill the focus. Well, I have a decent light right now here, so it's kind of okay. I did some slight changes, like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
but
you're getting there.
It requires some
This-
patience.
this was the other one, and
like
look at
that
those eyebrows. It's terrible.
Chunky.
He needs
Uh,
to book an appointment once lockdown is ended to get his
yeah.
eyebrows done.
One
It's
one
like
thing.
looking at my eyes when I paint minis. It's just fucking garbage.
One thing that I think
Sorry.
I should do when I start painting after I put the primer, I should just go like for the eyes and do them. If I mess up eyes, I should just throw the model. But
Yeah, but you can always
eyes at
repaint that.
doing eyes at the last step is so not
What
rewarding.
was it? I think
Yeah.
so. One of the last models I did, I tried painting the eyes, and they came back so bad that I just gave up.
Was it
I
Gandalf?
actually, oh yeah, Gandalf. My God, that was so bad.
I like
That
that.
looks awesome. See, that looks really good. But Gandalf was pretty bad. The other day, I saw a guy using a pigment marker, a fine marker, to trace out the eyes,
Uh-huh.
because you get for someone that isn't as experienced as
It can work
using a brush.
on small figures.
Exactly. And it was really nice to see that. I haven't tried it. I do need to get some of those.
We should have a graffiti on for an episode of eye painting because
Yeah.
holy shit.
Dude,
He also did.
I'm talking with him right now. He doesn't have time.
Yeah. But he also did that
That's all we have.
Borderlands weapon with the markers.
Yeah, the funny effect.
Yeah. The
This is
That
probably
was-
the laziest thing I've painted.
it
It
still
was
looks
just
good.
mix of bunch of different things. This is where I was doing like blending and washes and whatever.
I like
But that looks good.
But I was too lazy to do anything with more details.
But sometimes you don't need all the small fucking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Thomas says he loves your busts.
Thank you.
So I also love your bust.
Dude, don't hit on me.
I
Why?
just
Oh,
love
sorry.
you.
Why?
Oh, we're
Come
live.
on.
Damn it.
I just love you. Yes.
Um,
No.
Grumpy Dude is 3D printer answer to Bob Ross.
Says who?
So I claim raise.
German.
He's not German, bro. Oh,
That's a Portuguese dude.
you've been offended by frenzy.
But so we were going to also talk about weathering
I'm
stuff.
disappointed in you, Tom.
Yeah, you
So,
did a
and you
bunch of
mentioned,
stuff. Show us
yeah, you
something good.
mentioned. I have a lot of stuff. So this was a. So you were mentioning washes.
Hmm.
That's an
Yeah,
example
I have few.
of using only
kind of.
pigments
Hmm.
to similar. Did some bit of washes, but you can
Wait,
actually.
speaking of washes, do you want to explain to those who don't know what washes are? What washes are?
Do you want me to say it fast?
Yes.
Okay. A wash is an acrylic, but it's thinned down heavily. It's with water and a little bit of this soap cleaner, whatever it is.
Hmm.
It's probably not this soap, the one that they're using, but it does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It releases the surface tension, so it doesn't stick, so it flows.
So what happens is when you apply it to a model, it'll tend to
It will go into all of these little.
crevices. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll make them darker, and it will help highlight the.
All of these light areas.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also can be used to make a surface dirtier or.
Yeah.
So and that basically you can use different colors of washes depending on the model you're painting. You can also have washes that are made slightly different, but to give rust effects, dirt effects, and other environmental effects.
Yeah, I have the dark brown.
Oh, that one.
And I have European dust. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because I'm from
you want to know
Europe.
something? Do not use that on something you want to be skin or anything finely. Something like that.
The European dust.
No,
That
no.
one?
Those specific washes.
Uh-huh.
Those have a the pigments are way too coarse. I don't know.
Okay.
They're not as fine because it's mostly for vehicles and terrain. So what you really want, what you really want, you know.
Someone was mentioning if you use a sponge to add dirt and debris to items. I do use sponges. For example, with washes, if you apply a wash with a sponge, you can give it a more kind of random pattern to it. You can also use it with pigments and some other bits. And depending on the kind of sponge, there are some more dense sponges. They actually can kind of help smudge the washes a bit better.
These are the high pigment washes,
Mm-hmm.
small ones, and also Citadel's washes are pretty good.
Yeah.
So Fred, I know you made your own washes.
Yeah, I did
3 weeks ago. How did it go?
Actually, I quite like them. So the problem that I have is because I do a lot of terrain, I use a lot of washes, and basically, like Grumpy was showing, those 17 milliliter bottles just they go like crazy.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to use that on terrain.
No. And they're not expensive if you're using a little bit, but when you get to use the amounts that I'm using, it's just not practical. So after trying several other types of washes, I ended up talking with Grumpy and looking online, and I ended up finding some recipes for some washes. I did some brown wash and some black washes, and I also did several intensities depending on the ink, black or brown ink I put into those washes. so you
Okay.
can use it in different places, and they work really well. Uh, a bit of trial and experiment on the materials used, but yeah, they do work really well. I think I have. Let me get an example. Yeah, I did.
So Grump, you're doing outline, then another outline. I'm trying to figure out that process.
Yeah, me too. No, seriously. This is the second time I'm doing it, and it's probably not even the right way to do it. So
So
it's just to create more contrast. When you use the airbrush after this whole step, you can just put on something like this. It's almost white, but it will still give you different tones in the skin.
So
So this is, for example, an example of something that was painted, and then I applied some washes on it to give it some kind of different tonalities to certain areas,
wait.
and make it even here. These parts, they were kind of darker on purpose
Mm-hmm.
and dirtier, and I was using a homemade brush, wash, sorry, and it works really well, and it's cheap.
It's way cheaper, especially if you do terrain.
So on this example, for example, there's washes and there's pigments,
Rust
the
effect.
rust bits. Yeah, but there's also washes that simulate darker rust, and you can get several intensities of it, and then just make it look different. Or in this example, so for the walls, I use brown pigment, but for example, on the floor, on the pavement, these lines, they are not made with pigment because again, you wanted a lighter tone, so I've used pigments, dark pigments, and then just a little bit of pigment, and then just with a brush just wash it off so that it just gives that dirty effect without actually having the intensity of a wash.
Can you show me the model from the side? I want to see something. Oh yeah.
Wow.
The rail and those line underneath. It's really cool. Like how you were holding it, that wasn't visible. That's why I wanted it to show from the
So
side.
that bit there, you can see there, that seems dirty. That is actually a brown dirt pigment that I've used to make it look like a little bit more used, and then give those kind of effects to it, which end up giving a better look. This is another example.
Makes it look more believable.
Yeah. So this is actually the diorama I haven't released. I've been trying to finish it. And in this case, actually, I did something else, which is use pastes. So
it's pretty hard to see here, but
yeah, but you probably can see the details. There's this texture on the walls.
Now we can see it.
Yeah, that is a pigment.
So like
this,
a grout.
Yeah, so this is basically normal PLA, and then I've painted this paste on top, very thin. Applied several coats of paint, and then with these darker bits are again pigments. So it gives it that kind of used and dirty effect. And then the gate where you see those
Also
rust
almost
bits,
like it's made out of sandstone, right?
yeah, exactly. And those bits of rust and dirt and grime, they're all washes. The only difference is there are some metal bits there. It seems like the paint came off. That is using another product that allows you to do several layers.
Oh, it's a chipping medium. Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens is you do a first layer, and then you apply that product on top called the chipping medium. Let that dry, and when you apply the second color on top, you can remove the color afterwards and show the underlying.
You mean flocking?
Flecking.
I think she means flocking.
Flocking.
I don't know.
Yeah, so these are some of the examples of how you can use pigments and washes to give a more dirty or used effect or kind of simulate metal. I guess like
I'm
that's
seeing some connection issues. I don't know if it's on my side but now Grumpy was frozen for me. It's probably on
no.
my
Still
side.
frozen?
I think the train is coming by. That's probably
Oh, I don't
Still
hear it.
frozen? Can you hear me?
No, I can
no.
hear you.
We can.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine because we're doing this through StreamYard. So even if I lose connection, you guys are gonna continue. So
Yeah. We won't just be as polite as we are being now. But
We just pay the train driver to go by, and then we can overtake your YouTube channel.
yeah.
I want to show people that I have original Grumpy paint job right here.
Oh yeah.
And what's cool about this guy? He's colorblind.
Who? The
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
goblin?
Yeah, that one too.
And look, he did all the colors correct. No issues.
Maybe.
Even my wife knows that that you're colorblind, and whenever I say wrong color to you, she's like, "Don't be mean."
Wow, you told everyone my secret, huh?
Jesus Christ.
Can't trust people these days.
That's not secret. Why would that be a secret? That's your
I think
Superpower.
we need to do a
Wow,
challenge
yeah.
where everyone wears kind of those green glasses, goggles, and then has to paint something without knowing which colors they're using.
dude.
Yeah, then
I
I will
don't
take
even
on color
need
correcting glasses and be able to see in something once.
But it tastes the right color. Yeah. That's actually quite interesting because he was mentioning taste, but actually, one of the things that a lot of people might not know or have experienced is different colors have different consistencies and are harder or easier to apply to a model, or might
And
need
also,
more coats.
veteran, something I forgot to mention to you. When you want to paint your models, always thin the paint. Always.
why.
Because you will. I don't know if you can see it, but this is pretty smooth. The paint.
Yeah.
If you take just a normal paint like this one, it will be pretty thick when it comes out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So when you apply it, you will get the you can see the strokes from the brush,
Mm-hmm.
all like a bunch of small lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you thin down the paint a bit and you paint it twice,
Yeah.
you get a smooth surface.
So the thing is, people tend to prefer to have one coat and then forget that one coat, because it's a really thick coat, will leave way more, the brush strokes visible than two thinner strokes
And that can
will just cover a model.
motivate a lot of people when they try to paint.
And especially when they're painting, I've seen some people online saying, "Oh, try to paint this," but it just doesn't. The paint doesn't stick, and then after the first coat, they just give up and don't try and apply a second coat to it, or even a third or fourth coat. Sometimes it's needed. The other thing is there are some paints that are easier to paint if you give them a coat before that of another color. So like yellow, for example, a lot of times yellow is really hard to paint on. Mm-hmm. So if you, for example, have
brown or pink
applied to it before, then you can apply a yellow, and it is actually easier to do. And this is also the same reason, for example, why I avoid trying to print PLA in dark colors, because it depends on what I'm trying to achieve, the base coats that I'm going to give.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier if I want to paint a light color model and I have a really dark or black PLA. I'm going to have to apply probably one or two coats of primer in a lighter color, and that's just, just to cover that black PLA doesn't make much sense. The other thing is prime your models before painting.
Yeah. Otherwise, the paint
Well,
won't stick very well.
I have so many prime models on my shelf, just because I'm usually not getting gray resin, and I
Hmm.
like
Ah,
that one shows the most details for me. So like every color, because I have some vivid colors, I usually just spray them so I can actually see are they good or not.
Yeah. Oh, I had some blue resin some time ago. I hated that thing because every time I painted something, my God, the amount of the primer I had
I
to
had
use to cover it.
I had some green resin from Isan. I got it to test it out, and it was really great in terms of printing. I had no issues. Uh, when I looked at it, it was fine, but taking picture, it was impossible. Like whenever I tried to take a picture, it just blended into one color, one shape. I just had a silhouette. It was insane. I've never seen something like that. I don't know where I have that.
Yeah.
And
Some colors are hard to take photos of and they don't look good.
but I mean the resin doesn't have those kind of issues. All right, like you can
No, but
easily
then
cover
again,
it.
it's
I
easier
actually
to
tried
cover
some resin.
because the
Yeah,
paint doesn't seep into the layers.
Mm.
but I've had some resins that were much harder to prime and paint than others. Um, don't know why. Again, even the cleaning process on a resin print might help painting a model. Well, there's actually, like Monkey is saying, I use a spray can, but there are actually primers that come in
Yeah, they are
spray cans.
filler primers,
Yeah.
Yeah,
automotive filler primers.
this is like primer and filler, and I mean I was trying to apply it like really thin layers, but
Yeah, you
like
can't do that.
if you get carried away just for a
Eh,
second, you're gonna
you
lose a
get
bunch of
like
details.
a
Yeah.
massive
Yeah.
pop.
Yeah. The problem with painting with the spray can is that you just need to start further away and then not try to start on the model, start before and go after the model.
Yeah, but
So that when you get
I
to the
really get
model,
carried away. I start
yeah.
like I do this and that, and then I just spin around like crazy. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a
yeah, and
dance
then
dance.
you end up with a thick coat of paint, and that's it. All details are gone. Even with an
I
airbrush,
spray
it's
all
hard.
over the place.
One thing I've started using now is controlling the pressure of the airbrush to get more control over how much paint goes onto a model. Because a lot of
Mm.
probably with mini dudes, that's not a big issue. But with like miniature figurines and other things, you end up losing all of the details just by airbrushing like a thick coat on a model, and that just
Well,
doesn't work.
that was the first thing that I tested when I got the airbrush. Those really thin coats, and that was something that I really liked compared. Like before that, I was just using a spray can for everything,
Hmm.
or just acrylic colors, applying them, and like of course those thick layers, not like the airbrush colors. So I was like I was using a lot of water just to smooth everything out. And when I actually started using airbrush, it was like, oh yeah, this can be so thin, you can do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
But I don't know if it's my airbrush or the technique. In a bunch of cases when I
I
was
have a
trying,
video that you need to watch.
every time I get that first blow of air that hits like few dots,
Hmm.
the bigger ones, and it's really annoying. So every time I was like started spraying somewhere on the side and then actually going back. Like every time I left airbrush, I had to kind of uh, try for a few times just to get the hang of it again.
Yeah, you need to practice the how far you pull the trigger to for the amount of paint. The other thing is something that Grumpy always said, which is when you start with air and no paint outside of the model,
Mhm.
because a lot of the times you might get some bits of paint stuck on the needle. And the other thing is when you finish with air and no paint. That helps avoid
Yeah,
having paint on the
that's
airbrush.
probably the issue I had because
Yeah,
every
so that was
like
something that
next time.
Grumpy told me several times, and I started doing it. It is tricky because it is
You need to learn it.
you need to
That's
learn
all.
it, but practice it and enforce it because it becomes a muscle memory thing that you just push air, and then when you end, you just push air again, so that you get used to not getting clogs, but also taking all of the paint out of the airbrush, so that when you're painting back, there is no paint
Mm.
until you actually start pushing paint through. And then you need to practice
Yeah, man.
a lot, I guess. But the amount of times I mess up models with airbrush, like you're saying, painting a face, and you just want to give that little light touch, and all of a sudden, a blob on the hand. I mean,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and you just have to paint it over and restart.
yeah, but doing it again, it's really annoying part.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I think
Uh,
a lot of
this was
times.
the base where I actually use those washes.
Yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was pretty happy with that.
and especially if you have bricks like that, the wash is just perfect for that
Yeah.
because it just goes in there where it should go.
It's one of the things how there's a couple of Vallejo tutorials on washes and pigments, and they have this one where they made this kind of dirt and sand area, and then they just use pigments and washes to just make it more realistic, and then applied static grass on top, and it's just insane what you can actually achieve with it. So you can tell at the same level as seeing people dry brush a model and
Yeah,
just
there's a
Mhm.
paint a
lot of
model
different.
just with dry brushing, which is a different technique, but you can achieve impressive results with it.
Yeah,
It's just to know when to use those techniques. Um, I actually have to practice a little bit more
I
dry brush.
I like airbrush for some stuff, but in most cases I don't like to use it because it takes a lot of time for cleaning and like
no, it doesn't.
You get used to it, and then you
well
get better and faster at
That's
it.
that's why I have a video that you need to watch. So just trust me, it takes 30 seconds to clean it.
Yeah, but
it's with soap.
No, yeah, soap and water.
Yeah.
it takes like what 10 seconds, 20 seconds to clean the airbrush
Yeah,
after you use the paint. If you're going to store it, yeah, spend a little bit more time cleaning it up. But if you're not going to store it and it's just swapping paints, it's really not a lot of time. And I guess the more you do it, also, the easier it becomes. Nowadays, I could do 20, 30 different colors in a day of painting, and it doesn't make any different. And I don't look at it saying, "Oh, okay, swap." In the past, yeah, I was like, "Oh, now I have to swap colors. I have to paint it and clean it." You get used to the routine, I guess.
I mean I didn't really spend that much time
no,
painting, but every single time I was using airbrush, I had issues like either
clogging.
yes, all of that was really annoying, and because of that, I every time when I really wanted to paint something, I had to to like reserve some amount of time. Like I'm gonna now like spend 3 or 4 hours just painting. Then it's like fine, okay. I'm gonna deal with clogs and everything. But if I want to do something, start something quickly, it's like no.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that damn thing and like I haven't touched it since I moved here.
I think what I've learned with clogs is a lot of the times it's just because the paints haven't been thinned down properly,
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
you're not using what was saying that Grumpy
even
mentioned.
even the airbrush paints needs to be thinned down
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
Well, I have that thinner
And that's
thing.
kind of bullshit. Oh, sorry. It's some really crap stuff to do when you are.
Bullshit. That's what.
Yeah,
you
it
wanted
is
to say.
bullshit because they say it's airbrush paint, but in reality you have to thin it down.
Yeah.
And that's kind of stupid. Stupid.
But depends on what paint it is. Like if you get the normal Vallejo model paint, you need to use a lot more droplets of water. If you use game colors, you need to use probably a little bit less. The Mecha colors, and then if you use airbrush colors, you still need to thin it down a little bit. Even airbrush primers, you need to thin it down. But you get, as you're doing it, you get used to, okay, I have this quantity of paint. Oh, it's this type. I use 2 or 3 drops of water, and then mix it well. And again, don't forget to clear the brush out with the air so that the paint is off the airbrush, and then that's it. You get used to it, and you have much less clogs. And when you have clogs, it's basically you just need to clean the brush.
This
the
is how
airbrush.
nasty my airbrush is. Still works.
Well, yours works.
Mine
Fred
doesn't.
Fred sent his one to the grave.
Fred abuses his airbrush. Okay.
Yeah, I literally, I think we were having this conversation on Discord yesterday about airbrushes and expensive ones and cheap ones. And honestly, like my first airbrush kit was expensive, and it was the biggest mistake I made because.
Okay, this one needs to be cleaned because.
Yeah. That needle is dirty.
But dirty boy.
But if an airbrush like the ones I buy cost me $20.
Yeah.
And lasts me 2 months.
Freddy doesn't want to spend an hour cleaning them after each paint session.
No, I spent like 30 minutes cleaning the airbrush. I used some.
No, but the amount that you're using the airbrush, you don't want to waste that much time cleaning it.
So after 2 months, I'll just throw it away, or if it breaks or stuff, and I'll just buy another one. I'll probably spend less in a year than buying a proper airbrush, and on top of that, I'm not good enough to use one. So it just doesn't make much sense to spend that.
So
much.
Both of you are using wet palette, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are the benefits except that it's keeping colors fresh? Is there any other benefit?
It's wet.
No.
Well, besides the fact that you can actually resume painting with colors that you have mixed without them all being dried, so you don't need to do it in the same moment. It also helps with sorry, what you were saying, Grumpy, about
wet blending. Yeah.
Not only that, but even with the thinning the paints.
Yeah.
It helps with that process.
Yeah. What a wet palette does is usually when you just put on some acrylic paint on a piece of paper, the acrylic paint will suck up all of the. I mean, the paint will suck out all of the moisture in the paint.
In the paper.
I mean, paper will.
Yeah, the paper. Yeah.
As long as someone's okay. No, never mind.
Nope.
No, this is.
I'm not allowed. You're not allowed. Okay.
I know.
But the paper sucks out of all of the moisture in the paint, and it will dry like instantly. 10 minutes and the paint is dry.
Yeah.
So you have to work fast, and that stresses you out. There's no point in that. When you do it like this, I can just put on the lid, and then I can come back 2 hours and keep on going.
Or even the next day, depending on if it's properly sealed. The other thing is it's really much nicer.
If you have a very hot room, just go and put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
There's no room.
Yeah, same here. But the other thing is when I started it, I bought those painting palettes. Hey Bob, the reality, you have to clean those up, otherwise they're going to be full of paint, and these you just take the top paper out, throw it in the bin, put a new one in, and you can have a brand new palette.
Just remember to wash the sponge every now and then.
Yeah.
It gets a little sticky.
I've made one. somewhere.
Yeah, you can make your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a model that I made
Just
of
go
a
rate
first
the
palette.
kitchen and take the lowest
Yeah.
Tupperware container that you have.
Exactly. That's what I did. I
I
don't know where
didn't-
it is now, but it's here somewhere.
Yes.
Right there.
In the darkness.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to spend money initially on one, so I made one the STLs for one, which was based on kind of the sponge and paper from a company.
What skin
And I
color
just-
do we give this guy?
Something.
Greenish.
Green? No,
Let's hear the
that's
comments.
that's gonna ruin.
Okay, what kind of color should he paint this
Light or dark skin tone?
dude? Yeah, don't say actual colors. He will not know
No,
which
no.
one.
I mean the skin tone, like real skin tone. You have like dark skin tone, that's dark brown, and you have like this is my skin tone when I've been sitting in here for a year painting. You know, it's almost see
Lockdown.
through. Yeah, it's the lockdown skin.
Okay.
Skin tone.
Yeah.
Go
We call
with
it
dark.
squid color.
Are we going dark?
Chris says dark. Bernard says dark. Fotis has dark green.
I don't want to do green because I'm not sure how it will react with all of this.
Well, dark green. It's not.
Well, I'm
really
colorblind,
green.
so I'm just taking this dark one here.
And he grabs a bright one. Oh,
But-
you're gonna use airbrush now. Fancy. Wait, the thing that you just put inside was what?
That's water and this soap.
So that's your thinner.
Hmm. I tend to
There's
just
no
use
point
water.
in buying the expensive airbrush thinners because usually it has alcohol in them.
Mhm.
No, not the thinner. The cleaner has alcohol in it. And what the alcohol does is there's little gaskets in here, like O-rings, and the alcohol will dry them out, and they will become.
Yeah, that's what happened to my
called-
last airbrush.
Yeah.
The O-rings just.
and you will get what's it called? The air will escape from where it's not supposed to do it, and you will not be able to use it. So
I think the only product that I use sometimes is the paint retardant. So if you don't want the paint to dry too quickly, you can mix a little bit of that. But most of the times you just use water to mix with the paint.
yeah, but if you want a little bit of flow rate,
Yeah.
put a
So
bit of
that's
soap.
the paint retardant is a little bit of the flow aid, I think.
You see, this is a quick coat. It's not that
Mhm.
easy to see because of the camera. But
No, it's hard to see because of my internet connection.
Ah, you
I'm
can
seeing
see
like
it in brownish.
I can see 2 frames per second.
nice.
Painting your hands is part of painting. So.
Yeah,
Well, he needs to get a 10 somehow.
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
But
So
Yeah,
how many times have you missed the spot and went back?
I don't know.
Because that was the first thing I've noticed that
With this one,
I
it didn't really matter because everywhere needs to get the same amount. So I just go and see where it gets wet. That's pretty much it.
that looks actually pretty cool.
And this was the same process as for the orc you made that I painted. Pretty much.
Do you have it somewhere nearby?
Yeah, I can go get it.
And the other thing is because you thinned down the paint, you can apply it in
See,
several.
I forgot a goddamn support mark.
Yeah, Grumpy.
Goddamn.
That's a zit. It's fine. Like Grown
No,
ups can have that.
it's really annoying when you start painting a model and then you look at it and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
damn it!" It's sitting there.
You see? Have a little
Someone's
pigment
talking
here now.
about you, Waxer.
Hmm?
They're saying you're a genius.
You see, veteran? There's paint in here
Geniuses.
right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paint in here.
Pay attention, guys.
You just fill it up, empty it in a cup, fill it up again, empty it, and maybe one more time. Then you just do this.
Blow.
Ah. Yeah.
So you get it back out through the nozzle.
Yeah.
No, not through the nozzle, but the other way.
So real close. Don't
And then just
don't try it.
dump it
Just-
again, and then you can. Now it's just pure water coming out. And
So
it's clean.
I mean that's how when I was using Airbrush, I almost said ZBrush. When I was using Airbrush, I
I'll go get the-
I was mixing colors like that.
I'll go get a wheel.
The reality is avoid spraying when you're cleaning the airbrush, because if there are bits of paint that stuck there before you clean up the airbrush, they can get clogged. So what you do is you do 2 or 3 cleans, like Grumpy was saying. You put the air so that it backflows from the nozzle, just to clean the nozzle back into the paint cup. Empty that, and only after that, just flow the airbrush, because otherwise you might get some clogs.
You see?
I love the red hair; it's so cool.
Red?
Yeah, red hair is fucking awesome. Did I just wear? Yeah, I did.
But you can see, it's almost
Yeah.
the same process.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot.
So yeah.
And again, it comes from trialing different
Yeah.
technique.
And
seeing-
as you saw, I was not precise at all with the undercoat.
Yeah.
I just followed the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So, I mean, what's the difference between this technique and actually applying
Layers.
washes?
you,
Shouldn't washes go like fill those
Yeah, but-
cavities in the similar way?
no.
Not
It'll be
on
much
this big of a
difficult, but-
model.
Yeah, and on top of that, because the washes will work if you have a very small
Small cracks and
cracks and nooks for the model. This is more creating those different highlight areas on surfaces that aren't really that deep. You know,
Okay, so what if you apply washes now?
yeah, you
Will
can.
it blend everything more now or not?
It could help blend. A lot of the times, what will happen is you'll apply a wash, and it will darken a lot of the highlight areas, and you'll have to go and paint on top of it.
Yeah.
The highlights, so that it contrasts a little bit more.
works way better on a
Yeah.
miniature.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because
Wait,
again, they have more.
that's the one I use for thumbnail,
Yeah.
right?
No, that one died a horrible death. And I'm really sad about it because that's my best miniature.
You sit on it, didn't you?
No, he died. When I was cleaning my room, he fell down from the goddamn screen stand and he broke his both of his legs. Like 5 millimeters of his leg broke off and landed on the floor somewhere.
Well, and you didn't recover that model and casted some resin, and he was like crossing a bit of water or something like that.
He died.
Damn it!
If he dies, he dies.
Sir Walter died.
I actually got I broke one of my
He died for the Emperor.
20X wings, and I had another TIE fighter that didn't print well, and I'm actually going to do a tiny diorama where they're kind of in the water and stuff like that, and that's what you should have done with your mini. I hope you haven't thrown it away.
He didn't talk about his mini during live
No,
stream.
he's in a box somewhere.
Yeah, you see.
What other what are the things that you use the most while you're painting, like except paints?
toothpicks, cotton buds, and
Okay.
some towels. Oh, he's quite a
Look at
lot.
poor Sir Walter.
Oh,
He lost his legs
Just
and
glue
his
him, dude.
and his sword.
Sword.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman, samurai.
I'm actually surprised that Leonardo I did in Resin, he survived
Leonardo. Oh,
the Ninja Turtle.
yeah.
It
Alcohol.
survives me moving stuff from the apartment to the house, and I didn't even care because I was panicking. I just throw everything in the boxes.
Yeah.
Like I still have those boxes right there.
Mm.
I'm too lazy to turn on the light,
Oh
so
yeah, you're the
Mhm.
they're
ones
still
that are
there.
not. They're not moving boxes, but they're still moving boxes.
Well, I need to keep my prints somewhere. There's really no room above, and look at my table right now. Like
Mhm.
everything is here.
Dude, you need more shelves.
Yes, I know.
Get to it.
Well, I have to get rid of models now. Running out of space for them. But another thing, yeah, and I do use that, but not just for painting. Was actually it
Yeah.
reminded me of another
What,
thing I
the
use a
alcohol?
lot, which is distilled water.
Oh,
Because the water here is
It's
too
very heavy.
harsh. Yeah, and to avoid having builds up on the airbrushes, and
Yeah.
I just use distilled
All of the
water.
calcium. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want all the calcium in the airbrush.
so that's one of the things that I use a lot. And then it really depends. Like I've written some articles on my blog about it. I think paints. People think that, oh yeah, I'm going to spend a lot of money or buy like those huge kits that have like 50,
200 paints.
60,
Yeah.
and they cost like $200 or so. I think that's just the wrong approach. What I started doing and what I think is a simpler approach is, as you go on and you paint some models, identify the colors that you need, and if you don't have
And the
them, you're
ones
gonna
that you use the most.
exactly and build up like
Because
that.
different people will always have like 5 different colors that they are most
Hmm.
attracted to using.
Yeah, and if
Fred,
you need special
Fred
colors,
is only one because that's gray. We all know it.
yeah.
what about this?
What is
So
that one? Is it the
yeah, that's
Basic.
the basic
Those are
colors.
just basic colors.
yeah just basic color like red, blue, yellow, green, all that stuff? Because right.
Olive green, like 2, 3 different red colors, black,
Yeah, but
gray.
that's good because then you can do shades and
This is
highlights.
racist. I'm not gonna say this one.
Because you
Burnt
can do
umber.
you probably have like different tones of each color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
that
that's a
so you
kit
can
that's
do
in.
highlights and shades.
Yeah, it's not an expensive kit, but when you start thinking about, like Grumpy, for example, or I at this moment, probably we need very little additional colors that we don't have to paint a model. Um, yeah,
I
but what?
I don't need all of this.
Yeah. So when you start, just look at the project you have at hand. Don't try and get all the colors. Just get the essential ones and the ones that allow you, like black and white colors, that allow you to mix and create different tonalities. With the wet palette, you can actually mix them and
Yeah.
create the new colors you want,
Hmm.
and build up as you go. Like I think I probably have
All of these colors I created out of 3 colors.
yeah.
That's just how it
So
is.
I have probably more than 100 colors at the moment there,
Yeah.
and like what I do have a lot is metal colors. For example, I have a lot of grays
You have a lot of technical paint.
and a lot of technical stuff. But that is because what I do, like
Yeah.
I need a lot of different grays. The other day I had to make a
You
palette
don't want
of
to have to sit and mix each
no,
gray each and
like
every single time. Yeah,
I
Fred
had
is
to
the
do.
gray master. 50
I
Shades
had
of Grey, that's what we call him.
I did this
Yeah.
actually, so I knew the different tonalities. And again, it could be that I just don't want to be mixing. But when I'm doing like this part, there's 3 different grays in this.
Hmm.
But when you start, you don't need to have that the amount of colors.
For that model, you are also using resin, right?
For the Zoka,
For the water.
yeah. So I've actually, it's a
So
thing that I've
how
tried.
complicated is that?
It isn't
It's not
complicated. It's
complicated.
the only thing that I haven't really nailed down.
You just
is,
use this.
Well, actually, yeah, you can use that, which I have.
Yeah. But this is only for thin water. You
Yeah.
don't want to use it for
Mhm.
like.
So this is
So-
why I have the cast resin on this one.
This is for water puddles, you know.
Yeah.
So the biggest issue that I have is how to make a support structure so that the resin
Yeah, it doesn't bend.
doesn't flow.
Yeah.
And I'm still having problems with the right technique so that it doesn't actually end up.
So what did you use for that one?
So this is a clear epoxy resin.
Around.
On this case, I use some acetate.
Some
The
What?
acetate. Yeah, it's an acetate. So what you
But what you can use is like clear plastic
yeah, it's
sheets
Yeah,
from
it's a plastic
packaging and
sheet.
stuff.
the problem is how you make it so that it's flush
Yeah.
with the sides and there's no dripping,
Yeah.
which is what's happened in this case. It started dripping.
I would
over
use
there.
some kind of wood or maybe a larger piece that you printed and put next to it.
And then what you do is after
Can you use Legos?
you can. I've
yeah.
seen people actually cast the molds, silicone molds with the Legos. It
Okay.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
too hard.
That's
But what
why
you-
I'm asking,
But
because
what you
I've
get is
seen
all
it
the
somewhere.
connection points.
Yeah,
You get all the seams.
yeah.
Ah,
So in this case, what I should have done actually is print a container that would go around, put the plastic sheets around it in such a way they wouldn't flow through. But it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
so how do you dry that, and how long does it take?
It took not even 24 hours to dry in air.
It's different. It's different for each resin.
Yeah, this one is the one that has been recommended for tabletop kind of rivers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
One of the things I've learned with several that I've done before is you need to have like a heat gun or a blowtorch so that there's no kind of bubbles on the surface, because otherwise, as you pour it, there's air and the air will just show up on the surface. And as you can see, it's pretty clear. It doesn't have any.
But if you
bubbles.
get the air bubbles, you can use a small storm lighter.
Yeah. That's and that will get rid of
just
it.
to burn away the air bubbles. You don't want to keep it on there. Just briefly touch it.
The other thing that you need to do then is with Mod Podge, apply a coat of Mod
you don't
Podge.
need to. But
Yeah, but if you want to give it kind of
you want some waves and ripples.
waves and ripples, you can use actually Vallejo has a material that allows you to do the
water
same.
texture.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can use Mod Podge gloss and just put it on top of and then with the airbrush just
really
blow
nice.
it so that it's like wavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use some foam if you want, some paint foam for.
I've seen some stuff on Instagram doing.
Yeah.
They're doing foam by just blowing air from airbrush, but I don't know what they used before. It looks like really nice.
The no face diorama, for example.
Mod Podge is over glorified glue, water, and some lacquer.
So this is also resin casted.
Mm. Yeah, I remember that.
Similar technique to the other one. It's just I've been trying different colors and. But there's an example here where I didn't use resin, and you can do a very similar effect to waves.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece is actually a PLA, and I've just used. I think this case was actually Vallejo texture. And then it just looks like waves.
When you show it, like when I see it from the top,
Looks like
it
birds.
feels like you've made a grid. You were doing
Yeah.
everything in straight lines,
But that's
right?
because the brain, you cannot randomize with the brain. It won't do it.
So
Well,
that's another example.
he's drinking a lot, so
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And
water, because he's living healthy. Come on, Grump.
that's another example.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because I'm so healthy myself. Yeah.
yeah. This looks much cooler.
I think this one is also, yeah, that's also resin cast.
Hmm.
So that comes with the base. And I've done with the sewers for the Teenage Mutant Turtle. I've casted resin, but it was UV resin. And it's kind of, I use some UV pigment with it. So give us a bit different effect.
And you've used some ooze.
The ooze is done with the UV resin from green.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I've done it on the, I think, Alien diorama, and on this one also.
I think they have different colors as well, right?
The Green World stuff
the green
has
stuff,
two
yeah.
UV resins. There's the clear and there's the green one.
I think they have a blue now as well. I like it. It's real nasty. Like it should be.
So that's the.
Where's pizza?
Yeah, who
Pizza?
ate the pizza?
Someone
God damn it,
stole it.
William!
Yes. But this one didn't actually go that well,
Oh.
and the resin started coming out from the bottom. So, yeah, that wasn't really nice.
I'm so glad I actually paid attention to that and not just listen what you just said because it was awkward.
Oh, man, you know, you
yeah, I'm
just
sorry.
make it worse.
I cannot.
You just make it worse than it is.
I know. I'm really got used to our streams where we don't have to behave.
With the UV resin, I think people might. Is this? So basically,
I think
the model.
If you had made a black bottom and just made it like spotty, it would have been way more powerful.
Yeah, what I wanted is something that people could print.
Yeah.
So the bubbles and all that is part of the model, but I wanted to give it that wet look. Yeah. So this is just a bit of UV resin on top, and it just gives it a shiny look, so people can do some cool stuff. And there's this one which has like goo.
I like that one. So should have put a little alien in there. Just
I'm using this model for the StarCraft one, and there's two of them in there, and I'm going to try and find an alien or something or a brain.
Man, no, don't. You can use Disco Fred. You just listen to me.
Get preserved in time.
Just make it in some kind of darker color, maybe black. Put it inside and put some kind of light inside, and it's gonna be epic. It's just gonna have silhouette.
I don't think it goes with the StarCraft theme, but I'll think about it.
No, it's gonna just look weird.
So that is some of the examples of techniques I think people can use. With and you know it just goes with trial and error, I guess.
Okay, what's the thing where people shouldn't save money? Like what's the thing that they should invest more money into?
Well,
they shouldn't save money on the paints themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The good quality acrylic paints are a good investment.
The brushes that I use the most, they are cheap.
They're Chinese, cheap.
They're cheap ones. Yeah. You get like 15 of these in a pack, and the blue ones cost like what, €5? This one I got a whole set. There was 10 in them, I think, and then it was €15 off Amazon.
Yeah,
I also have some expensive ones. They're right here. and these
Okay.
cost about 25 euros a piece, but that's real hair.
It was.
Okay, yeah.
I really didn't know they are so expensive.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
Kolinsky sable.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called in English, but it's the little ferret where they take it from.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's such a big difference between those? You
This
said
one
real.
this one holds the paint in in the uh, in the hair way longer
Hmm.
because acrylics they can't contain the paint for that long.
Hmm.
At least in my experience.
And they flow much better.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why, like, you know, cheap brushes. These there's not more than 30 bucks
Also,
in here, and these are not all of them. But
there's one thing I want to say is do not use your expensive brushes on an FDM print. Never,
Okay.
because all of the layer lines and all of the support area roughness is gonna wear down that brush so fast. God damn it, Pete. But yeah, the layer lines and the support areas are gonna grind down that brush so fast that it's not fun.
to be fair,
Just use cheap shit for this. For that.
my advice is spend the money in good quality paint. Don't over buy paints until you know what you're going to paint. There's no reason to buy expensive brushes. I think when you get more comfortable, you can buy some more
You can
expensive.
get one or two of the expensive brushes.
I think these are the four
good-
only
for
brushes
your
that I have.
Yeah.
There are 3 Winsor Newton brushes and one that is an Artus Opus that I bought, and probably each of them is like £8-9.
Yeah.
And then I
mean, it may not be expensive to some people, but I don't want to spend that much money on a brush.
No, and
I don't treat nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have these for dry brushing, which is something I've been trying to learn. And these are, I think
those are the expensive ones.
That's $100 there. But
this is the cheap one.
Yeah.
Wait, those are the ones that you use for makeup.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Not the one Fred has.
Yeah.
This one. This one is makeup brush. The cheapest shit that you can find.
Yeah. And I also use this makeup brushes for like pigments and stuff, but don't overspend it in kind of brushes. No, it makes no sense until you're doing it.
Not to begin with.
No. I think that is the advice that I would give. Don't buy expensive brushes. Don't buy expensive airbrush.
Don't if be cheap for paints. Like, are they actually? Yeah, are they paints that are bad?
Well, yeah, a lot of the
Army Painter is. Some of them are pretty good, but most of them are not that what's it called, opaque.
Okay, so what is your go-to, like Vallejo, Citadel?
Vallejo.
Mm-hmm. I only have Citadel technical paints, so paints for specific purposes. All of the other stuff is Vallejo. I do have a couple of Citadel, some Green Stuff World.
Also, there's different versions of the Vallejo. This one is the thick one that you really need to thin down.
Okay.
The model and game color.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the thick ones that you do need to thin down, otherwise you'll get the brush streaks.
Yeah.
The airbrush one is not that thick, as you will know as well, Redmond, because you have it.
Yeah, I have those.
You don't really need to thin this one down. Not for normal paintbrushes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already pretty thin.
Yeah. It really depends. You get a mix of usually I buy the air ones when I'm really don't want to be thinning down paints a lot. But if I want to use a brush, sometimes I buy normal game models.
And then we have the worst paint bottle container in the world.
Oh my god, the Euros good. Are you kidding me? If the Euros are...
See?
What?
It's really bad because it can go down here, and then you can do like this, and it gets down behind here, and you cannot close it properly after you use it for like some time.
Yeah,
Hey,
they're not great.
I've never seen that before.
No,
Yeah,
but it's the same with the washes. But at
Yeah.
least the washes are so thin that they will not do it. But what I like about these is that they have this.
yeah, the cup of the paint where
Yeah.
you can.
So you can
Where
just.
you can
What vertically
get in there.
I bought a couple of the kind of technical colors from Citadel. I have not used them a lot, but I do also have a Green Stuff World. They have some really weird paints, like I have conductive paint. I'm actually going to try and use it one of my projects. They have bloods and different things. It really depends, but yeah, get good paints. Yeah, the crackling ones. Hey, Chief.
Hey, Chief.
That's this one. It's
Yeah.
it's a technical paint that
The one that
it's
cracks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just looks like the other ones,
I only hear if it's
Yeah.
pretty much.
But when
It's
it
a little
dries
thicker.
up, it just starts cracking. I actually use that for details on the Cyberpunk book nook to put on the walls, and it just creates those cracks. It seems like the walls are cracking up on the building.
Yep.
Have you tried applying that to
Skin.
yeah, so it looks like he had some war paint that cracked.
No, not really.
dash up fingers.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, no. And so what I've done is something else. You can get these.
Yeah.
The
The
texture.
place.
Texture, okay.
Yeah. It looks like grout, like sandstone. This is. But you can apply that, and when it's halfway dry, you can apply some of this, and it will end up looking like. It's pretty hard to see it because it's white, but see how cracked it is. So also this one is pretty good just for terrain. It's also just like a paste.
Yeah, and you also have I have
Oh, Jesus Christ!
6 or
stinks.
7 more, like sand. You get asphalt.
Yeah,
you
Vallejo
get-
has a ton of
Yeah.
these, and they're like 10 euros a piece,
yeah,
and they are massive. Like
yeah. I have. I don't even know where.
yeah, Citadel just needs to go.
There's also mud ones.
Citadel needs to move to these instead. Like, just do it already. It's not that hard.
So I did find Grumpy ages ago a shop here in the UK that sells but in big jars.
Black lava and
Ooh,
red.
How big are those?
I think
Well,
they are
300 milliliters?
half a liter.
Holy cow!
Yep. I've used the lava one quite a lot of times to make asphalt.
Mhm.
Let me just make sure I don't get it all dirty everywhere. Yeah, that looks like that.
What the?
It's pretty.
It looks like a rubber.
Yeah.
I just hear Matilde. What the?
Yeah, someone is not respecting the
Yeah,
swimming rules.
I tried to make some lava base just for fun.
Yeah. So these are awesome. They're really not fundamental, but I also have snow.
Okay.
So same logic as in paste, but it's in snow.
I'm not sure. Like,
Did you use that somewhere?
I've not used it for snow. I use it for water, for like the waves. But I also have a smaller version of this for waves that works well. It's pretty cool. Like every time I see some of these technical things that I haven't tried it, I always try and get some to play around and see how good they are. I was actually looking at, where is it? I made a base, and I used a couple of. Yesterday, when I was pouring the resin, I ended up making more resin than I needed, so I started making a base. I have to finish it up, but it uses a sculpted base. Then I applied some of the pastes, and then I put some Mod Podge with some sand and some little rocks, and then I've applied now a resin to it.
I can
And
give
I'm-
you a tip for that, Fred.
What?
On the edges of the water, you can take a little oil paint and then down with turpentine or white spirits,
Mm-hmm.
and just gently dab it around the line where the water is.
Yeah.
So it looks like the ground is soaking the water.
Ah, yes, that's a smart one. Yeah, and I want to get some. I have to order some static grasses.
But look at this. Do you know green stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
This is liquid.
Oh, it's the liquid green stuff. Yeah, yeah. That's actually, it's one of the things that I tried to order, but they stopped shipping to the UK also.
Okay, we are
Sorry.
close to 1.5 hours, so we're gonna close
That's
it for
Yeah,
tonight.
I think people are fed up of painting stuff.
We only said 1 hour anyway. So.
Yeah. Next time, I would really like to see both of you painting and showing something else. Maybe I'm gonna try also if I find a good second camera to
Motivation
point it downwards.
and motivation, right?
Well, I need to find a bottle so I can do that mixture of water and soap to try to clean it. And then
eBay is your best friend for that.
like
Amazon.
when I was preparing this office, like I got 2 tables. One is for me for sculpting and doing stuff, and the other part was made for painting. But right now it's just filled with a bunch of crap, so I need to clean that. I need to put
So
some
you're
kind
like-
of light there.
Each time you printed something, you're going like this. And then you put
Yeah,
another one and push it, and then it's just going all the way over to the other table. Yeah.
it's going there, and some other stuff is there.
It's called being a lazy fuck, Redon.
No, it's being. I admire.
Sorry, eh?
No, like I'm trying to figure out how I can put all of those on some kind of shelves, but I really need a lot of shelves for that.
You have your hexagon.
Hexagons cannot hold something like this. I would have to print it much bigger.
To hold what? Sorry.
You have a lot of room on that back wall. So
Well, for
there are lots
busts,
of process.
Getting a shotgun when it comes out.
like this hexagon
Man.
would have to be huge.
Yeah. So what?
Oh no,
I like that color. So
what color?
that one.
Which one? There are.
It's really dark and mysterious and shiny.
Oh, you mean this green one or this yellow one?
Fuck are you?
So Grumpy will. What do I want to say? I don't know. Yeah, people can find you
hopefully
here.
next time we can paint
Oh, no.
the 3 of us at the same time.
So, I mean,
Okay.
people will want to see the finished product. So you need to paint that thing and publish it here.
This one?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Are you kidding
This
me?
is Fred's Twitter,
Was coming up
Uh-huh.
and I was
Mm-hmm.
watching her and he was just,
and also in the description I put some links for Fred, so you can
wow,
find a bunch of cool stuff there.
then
Well, definitely. Let's do it next Saturday
Including
or Sunday.
Work. I have a couple of Grumpy's work on the blog. The Leoric and I think a couple more.
Oh yeah.
I
Grumpy,
think my Leoric thing is very dusty.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I think I saw a spider web on it as well, so I might need to dust it off. So.
That's more realistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more aligned.
What model?
think the one that you just had up, Mr. Hitman,
Oh, well, it's not only Hitman.
that
No.
you don't like.
Oh, actually, there are two models.
Mr.
See,
Self-Hater.
the killer and someone else. I don't know if you can see what he has
the
on his
facial
forehead.
expression. Oh.
So it can be actually two models. I'm
Comes
gonna
with the
release.
company, doesn't it?
I'm gonna try to release that one tonight. Need to prepare some images for it. So yeah, let's
That
finish
was
it.
cool. Yep. I'll
Thanks,
see you guys
everyone.
next time.
See you guys. Have fun. Bye bye.
Bye.